are watching Channel Adrian TV.
Yo, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, X. Welcome to another early morning and late nights video. Now, for this video, I wanted to talk about something that at some point in your life, especially in the workforce, you're going to go through this. You're going to figure out a lot of the old heads, a lot of the elders, a lot of the parents, a lot of the people who are older than you that's supposed to have work ethic, drive, determination. A lot of them are hypocrites and are lying to you. The only thing they have above you is that they're older than you. And one of my favorite sayings is younger people have a excuse to be weak, pathetic, not have work ethic because they're young. But once you come across a grown-up or an adult who is weak mentally, has pathetic work ethic, that's pitiful because you're grown. You should have matured by then. And the reason of this video is to motivate you, especially the younger men and women, because once you encounter that, you may not want to continue to grow or to continue to work hard. Their own insecurities may force you to stay where you're at. And I'm going to give you examples so you can understand what I mean. Let's say at work that you have a project to do or something you have to do, and the person that you're working with is slow, lethargic, because you're trying to get your work done. Now, if that person's older than you, they feel they should dictate the pace. They feel they should dictate the work ethic just off the merit that they're older than you. But what you're going to find out is a lot of people who are older than you, they're lying to you about having the work ethic, because if you have the type of work ethic that I do, you're going to run into a lot of adults who, if they don't have the same type of work ethic and drive than you, that is going to turn into hate, to where they'll say, oh, you think you're better than me. Now, I've had situations where grown adults have told me, oh, you think you're better than me? And I told them, yeah, because I was. And some people may say, Adrian, that's overdoing it. Adrian, you're being rude. But in my personal opinion, if an adult is rude, you could check that adult. But the only thing is, I didn't scream. I didn't yell. I didn't call them out their name. And this is one of the things that I've noticed about adults. The only leg a lot of adults have to stand on, and keep in mind, y'all, I'm an old head, so I'm experienced to say this. The only leg a lot of these old heads and parents have on you is just age. But once they get around someone like me who's around the same age, who's just as experienced, I found out I have more work ethic than them. I'm more mentally tough than them, and I'm more emotionally tough than them. And that's why I really wanted to do this video, because like I just said, when that adult said, do you think you're better than me? Instead of reverting and killing my work ethic and drive, it actually motivated me more. Now, I do know most people, if they have this encounter, because some people don't like confrontation. Now, I don't seek out confrontation, but I don't mind it. But if that happens to somebody, it will hinder their development, to where that person or that adult's insecurity will force them to quit working hard, or to quit wanting to be better or become better. And that's the major thing that I really wanted to do this video. To all the younger men and women listening to this, just because a lot of adults may be weak, may be mentally weak, may be physically weak, may not have the discipline to diet, may not have the discipline you have at learning a new skill to make six figures, may not have type of discipline and drive to have a better life. You can't let that stop your drive. You can't let that bring you down. And that's one of the things I do think, especially if you want to reach the level of success that I want to reach, you're going to have to develop that thick skin, because most people feel, and we were raised, that if the adult is telling you something, most likely that adult is right. But I'm telling you, a majority of these adults are not. Because I know so many adults who have spending problems. They can't even diet properly. They can't even focus. They can't even work hard. And that harsh criticism that they give to you, especially your parents, I have given that same criticism to adults my age or older than me. I've seen them broke down and cry and try to have a screaming match or yellow match with me. Now, keep in mind, I keep my composure and don't yell. But what I'm trying to say to you is, you know how parents treat their kids? when you get older, and let's say you have the work ethic and drive, in other words, you're well put together, a lot of those adults that you looked up to, you're going to view them as kids, because you find out all they just have is old age. They didn't grow. They didn't have any work ethic. They're passive aggressive. So in other words, everything that deals with weakness and not improving to where they were trying to teach you to do or say you need to become to be successful, they don't have. So I really want y'all to get this in your mind to where you don't let that stop you from developing, because I always pay attention to things, and everything I've said, everything I've done, a lot of them would either go back and do what I was saying, or a lot of them would try to come and talk to me saying, hey, you're right. But by that point, I don't even mess with them anymore. You may say, Adrian, why would you do that? They're trying to apologize and rewrite their wrongs. Remember, these are grown adults. They understand what they're doing. It's just that since some of them may be older than you, they're just doing that because of their age, and they think they could get away with it. No different than a boss if a boss is wrong. The same type of thing. Now, remember, y'all, I'm not saying y'all to be rude and yell back. I'll just have a normal conversation and say, no, this is where you're wrong. And before I get sidetracked, let me get back to the main point, because the main point is a lot of these things, a lot of parents and elders are trying to teach you, they don't have, and they're hypocrites. So if you do have it, do not let it hinder your growth. Keep evolving, because let me use another example before I end this video. Let's say you're working out and you're the only one in your family working out, and you're seeing results, but not that much results to you where you're shredded. And let's say you get into a discussion with family member, friends, or whatever. In other words, whoever you mostly socialize with. And somehow the conversation turns into, okay, but you don't got no six pack. In other words, putting you down working out, but you're seeing gains and you're not there yet. Some people will hear that and revert back to their old selves and stop working hard. What I want to teach y'all, and what I want y'all to implement, is to be like me, the opposite. If that were to happen to me, that would motivate me even more, because the best revenge is success and revenue. But on this point, since we're not really talking about money, it's success. So you should use that motivation to where when you want to break your diet, remember how they were saying, well, you don't got no six pack. When you want to go drink that six pack of beer, remember that. So in other words, because what these things are, triggers are trying to force you to go back and revert to your old self. Because when they were young, that happened to them to where they let it revert them back to their old selves and stop working hard. In other words, put them down because they didn't have the mental toughness. And this is what it comes down to: mental toughness and self-esteem. Because if you really have mental toughness and a high self-esteem about yourself, it's not going to bother you. It's only going to motivate you even more. Just like with these YouTube videos, how I'm doing. Someone can say, Adrian, you got all these videos, but you don't got 1 million views. Okay. That would motivate me more to where when you do see my channel one day, you are going to see that video with 1 million views. But it didn't stop me from filming. It didn't stop me from recording. If anything, it made me more hungrier. So men and women, remember, a lot of your parents, elders, grown-ups, bosses, a lot of that work ethic and drive and mental and emotional toughness about having a backbone, doing what's right, being dedicated, being determined, having mental toughness, a lot of them are lying to you. I just want to say, y'all, I appreciate all the support, and I will see or talk to you in another video.